Hey, what's going on, people? I hadn't planned on making a video before the year was up, but yeah, this thing just happened. It had me thinking. Even though I hadn't spoke on it, I was just thinking. I'm pretty sure a lot of people thinking the same thing. Before I get into it, let me give a special shout out to Nikki. Hope you're doing okay. I hope everyone out there is doing okay. Going on holidays, I hope everyone has some positive stuff going on, some good things happening in their lives, some good thoughts, but this video is not going to be that positive really because just heard about what's my man's name, Thomas Eric Duncan. He just died from Ebola, and the title of this video is really triage by race or class. And when this story first broke, I was like looking at this guy and I'm just like, I wonder if they're going to treat this guy the same way they did those doctors who they like flew to. I think they flew them some special hospital and the CDC got some special drugs, and seemed like about 2 weeks they were out and they were all fine, right? So I was just like, this is a black man, he's from Africa, black man from Africa, he catches it, and now they gave him the drug. I think he was already on the respirator when they gave him some experimental drug. Might have been the same drug they used to help those doctors, but it's too late, I guess it was too late, he was too far gone, and so he's officially declared dead now, and I'm just like, I'm not the only person who's thinking that in the back of my mind. Like, when I first saw him, I'm like, are they going to treat this dude the way they seem like they've been treating everyone else? The other people who are not black, So I was just like wondering, like, they're going to treat this man the same way. And I'm just like, all right, what happens if Ebola gets as bad here as it does in Africa? And like, is this how it's going to go? Is it like, okay, we already know people who are rich and have like influence, they're going to get the drug before, if this drug really does cure everyone, then they're going to be the ones to get the drugs first. And I guess if you're poor and you're underprivileged, you're going to be the last one to get the drug. But if you're not, rich or have influence, then the next best thing you can do is be white, because white lives is valued more than black lives. I know I'm not a person who's really into that thing about, there's white supremacy and black people gotta fight white supremacy. And for those who don't know, white supremacy isn't like the KKK. They're talking about how when you hear people talking about white supremacy on the internet, on YouTube, they're talking about how white people are running everything, corporations, all that other yada, yada, yada. Sometimes I think, I actually generally don't pay that much mind to that, because some of those same people are like conspiracy theorists as well. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, person who believes in conspiracy theories, at least I don't want to. But, this kind of worries me. I'm wondering if this is going to we have to get on some road warrior type stuff, if that Ebola really hits, and we're just going to run around trying to, battle with each other and kill each other just to get the vaccine, the cure for this virus, if they're only going to give it to, a certain race of people or a certain class of people. That's a scary thought, But a lot of people are panicking about this. A lot of people are like, they just need to lock down Africa, like not even letting anybody out of Africa to stop it. But, I hope it never gets to that point, where we might actually see if this actually comes down, if it gets to the point where it becomes an epidemic and, it will, but right now it's not looking too good, to be honest with you. I'm looking at this like, okay, so, the black man, they give him this nice drug that helped out those other people, but he's already too far gone for it to do any good. So I don't know, man. I'm just like saying this, I guess, just saying this is something to think about, something to think about. Like I said, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, and I don't want to believe the people sitting around planning, what do they call it, the genocide of the black race and stuff like that. I'm not the person who sits around thinking negative thoughts like that, or even want to believe. So, there might be some nutcases out there doing it, but I don't really want to believe that. I'm also not going to want to scream about white supremacy. Something. I'm a person who believes if the black community as a whole, if we would get our own stuff together, we wouldn't have to worry about white supremacy. We would be able to handle, if there was any conspiracies or anything against us, we'd be able to handle it if we got our stuff together as collective, as a collective group. Or even as separate individuals, we got our stuff together, we just unify, to take on, one, attack on us, whatever, but we're too busy tearing each other down, which I talk about a lot, which I'm not going to start talking about in this video. So, but anyway, like I said, it was in the back of my mind. Said I'm not going to say anything about it. I was thinking about it, and now I see this dude dies, and now I'm like, hey, I say, hey, I got to say something about it now. But that's just my views on it, And I'm not trying to be negative, but so like I said, I don't even believe you should like think stuff like that going to the holiday season. But it's disturbing to me, and I hope that I just hope this is an era where we're entering a period where a real lot of ugliness is going to get shown out there. I just hope that doesn't happen. But anyway, that's just my thoughts on what I heard about today about this thing with the Ebola virus. And how it might affect us here in the United States, maybe other states as well. I mean, other countries, as well. Anyway, thanks for listening, people. Peace.